Welcome back to 340 Paddler, and we are on to week 6. Rest week is over. It is time to prepare for the 340 once again, building up that body that's going to get you down 340 miles of the Missouri River. So where do we catch up today? Well, we're dealing with cardio once again, and of course we've been dealing with this progression. Now last week you were dealing with week 5. This was a rest week, sort of an active rest week. And of course, we have this progression. We're moving towards the running equivalent, or the equivalent, rough equivalent of doing a 4-mile run 3 times a week. And again, I'm ballparking these equivalents for bike and swim because I don't have as much experience with them. So I'm just kind of working with sort of minutes per mile. What would a 3-mile workout, 3-mile run be if it were a swim or if it were a bike, for example? So what we're looking at in week 6 is a 3-mile runs. Now, I'm ballparking this at about a 10-minute mile. You might be faster. Fantastic. So you might actually be running a little bit less as we move from time to mileage. That's fine, because as we move to mileage, the purpose of moving to mileage is it becomes a little more universal. Suddenly, 3 miles is 3 miles is 3 miles, whereas 30 minutes, if you're not really feeling it and you're taking your time, is very different from 30 minutes when you're really kicking it. The bike, I'm estimating at about 40 minutes, give or take, would be about the same effort. Swim, I'm putting 30 minutes. Now that might be way more than necessary. For a swim, you're doing about 1/4 of 3 miles. So that'd be something in the ballpark of half to 3/4 of a mile, somewhere in there. If you were doing it strictly by distance. There is actually a bit of math there where a swim is worth about 4 times what a run is. So 30 minutes is probably about where you want to be with the swim. Again, my math might be off because I don't swim. So that's your cardio goal. Let's talk about core. Because, of course, core is going to be incredibly important to the twisting motion of the MR340. All right, so we're on to week 6. We are going to deal with core, but first I want to talk about the equipment that you might need as we move forward. This is not equipment that you need right now. This is moving forward. We're talking next month and then a couple of months after that. First thing you'll need is going to be an exercise ball. Now, the exercise balls come in different sizes. I didn't know that before I bought one, before I bought a couple of them, because I went through a few sizes. But you should buy one that you can sit on with your knees at a 90-degree angle, or as close to that as possible. So if you're taller, you'll be closer to, like a 65 or 70 centimeter ball. If you're shorter, something smaller. Go to the thrift shop. They always have these. They're probably inflated already. Sit on one, see what happens. Or get a guest pass to your local gym. Sit on a bunch of theirs. Heck, steal one from the gym. It doesn't matter. This isn't Morals and Ethics 101. Do what you need to do. Secondly, you're going to want a resistance band. And this is a bad example of one. This is a little more expensive version of what you're looking for. Go to Walmart, and they'll have packs with like a red, a blue, and a yellow band in it. And these are really thin bands. They're about 6 inches or more wide, and usually they're only a couple of feet long. You're going to want that to add resistance, including to the core exercises that we do today, if you get to the point where resistance is necessary. Finally, one last thing. You're going to want a dolly. Now, this is a kid's version. They're pretty cheap. You can find these on Amazon for $20 maybe. Or you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or your local grade school and steal one of theirs. This is one for garbage cans, and it costs about $45, $50 at your local Home Depot store. So definitely something you're going to want, but it's going to be a few months before we get to these. Probably 2 or 3 months. So it's not a big rush purchase. It's just something to think about. And I will always give you an alternative that doesn't require this, because this is a little more money than I want to make you go out and spend. So let's talk about what we're doing today. Now we have our core exercises for the week, or for the month really. And there's a way that I want you to progress through these. You're going to do both of them. I want you to do 2 to 3 sets, and you're going to progress. So initially you're going to do 2 to 3 days a week. You're going to start with 3 sets of 10, and then you're going to do 3 sets of 15 the next time, and then 4 by 15, and then 5 by 15, and finally 6 by 15 and 6 by 20. Now that progression means that once you do these exercises, and you're not dying of soreness, it's time to move up to the next level. And I want you to progress through this up till the point where at the end of the month, you're at 6 by 20. And then I will introduce more exercises to replace these. Now these are very simple. If this is your first time, this is a great starter because you're probably weaker than you expect. If you're experienced, if you're someone who's done the race a number of times, who's very familiar with training, I'll show you how to increase the resistance for these pieces. So let's get started. First of all, I want you to do crossover crunches, which are pretty simple. You're laying on your back, your hands behind your head, more comfortably than mine, by the way. I'm backed up against the bookshelf here. And all you're going to do is come up with your shoulder and meet your knee. And come down. Try not to put too much strain on your neck. And you're going to do 1 to the right, 1 to the left, and that counts as 1 rep. And you can move pretty quickly with these. Sort of going 1, then the next. And you want to hit the knee. As you advance, you can actually go past the knee, like that, to add a little more strain to it. Now, if you are at the point where that is easy and you can do 6 by 20 today, just doing a crossing crunch, then take one of those resistance bands, put it on your feet, and do the same thing. And it's going to require you to pull a lot harder to bring that leg up. So if you're looking for, that sub 50 finish, that sort of thing, you might want to look at doing that by the end of the month. If this is too difficult, then you might want to start with a basic crunch or maybe even a basic sit-up, something along those lines. Now, there's one other exercise I want you to do, and that's going to be the Superman. And you'll have to excuse me, I keep looking at my phone in front of me because it's the only way I can see what it is I'm actually recording. And the Superman seems incredibly simple, and it's not working your abdomen. Remember, your core for paddling is mostly your back. All you're going to do is lay out with your hands in front, your feet in back, put your head down, probably put your forehead down, just makes it a little more comfortable. And you're just going to lift your hands and feet. You're going to hold that for a few seconds and let it down. That would be 1 rep. So something like this. You're coming up and back down. Now, that seems really simple, but I'm betting a lot of you will find that you are incredibly sore by the end of that workout, or maybe the next day, because we tend to have a lot of lower back pain. And the Superman is going to work a lot on your lower back.
So that's where I want you to start with core. Start with 3 sets of 10. You want to do it 2 to 3 times per week. It shouldn't take you all that long. And then when you progress, you'll go to 3 by 15, 4 by 15, eventually 5 by 15, 5 by 20, and 6 by 20. When you get to 6 by 20, then you've sort of topped out and you're going to stay at that level until week 10 when we introduce a new group of core exercises.
After all, we want to get you to the finish of the race and hopefully get you there without blowing out your core or any other major issues. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, quarrels, qualms, quandaries, curse words, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, this is 340 Paddler, hoping that you keep your paddle in the water.